Chair Kise, colleagues from the Ministry of Education, and other invited stakeholders. Good morning. Thank you so much, sir, for making time to be here. One thing that Aga did not say is that you also went through the same hands of Jeffrey Criven, and that is why you are here, polished.
Are you one of them? What is your number?
He's an alumni of Istare Boys Center. Sir, I want to most sincerely appreciate you. I've always listened to you, and the one affirmation that you said is that you have the Holy Spirit.
Oh, yes.
And today, I have confirmed that you have the Holy Spirit. You know, you were telling me in the morning, yes, but the Holy Spirit spoke to you. Yes. And thank you so much for making time to be with us in this congregation. I would have read the speech, but I think your presence is more important than the speech. So with those few remarks, sir, I want now to welcome you to come and speak to your people. Let's put our hands together.
Learners and parents, my colleagues in the education sector, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning.
It is true that I have issues that I had already delegated this function, but I always listen to a wise inner voice that keeps me alive. And that voice ordered me to come here, so I'm here. Let me start from the perspective of being very happy this morning and proud to be a Kenyan, because I come to a Kenyan institution. You find it is well built, extremely clean. The grass is well groomed. Everything, I'm like I'm in Germany or in the US somewhere. And that is what we must do for our country, which means the money that was meant to be spent here was spent here. Because I only measure what I can see, not a story. And I go straight to the point of my colleague who spoke. I've been around, but he says that there are many empty rooms. And I want to give the word of the government of Kenya, which I belong to, that we shall equip this center yesterday. I don't want, let us not beat around the bush. Director, Secretary, we must find money to equip this center. Let us be proud of our institutions, especially when the people who have done what they have to do have done well. I've been around, a physician by background, so I have a special attachment for the special needs children. And I have seen the professional effort that is being done by the teachers here. And therefore, one would also agree that it is important to empower this institution to train more teachers. Are we together? Yes. And we are not going to be crying and saying, where is the money? The money is there. Just how we are going to use it. So I know that it will take a little bit more to train a teacher to teach special needs subjects, but I want to assure you that this issue is very deep in the president's heart. There are many times he has given me instructions with regard to special needs children. So I want to say that even though I'm here to talk about a competency-based curriculum, which is the big elephant in my house, it is important to remember that in life, God creates us all equal in his image. And when you are coming out of your mom's womb, we are all the same, and you can take that to the bank. So every human being is the same as the other one. That's the first mistake we make as Kenyans, because we tend to forget that before God we are all the same. And so talking about children who become learners and have some form of disability, first of all, let us agree that we stop the stigmatization. Every time you think of a child, you think of a child as a child first, with equal rights. And as the fingers are not the same, there are some children that will require a little bit more attention than the others. And the government is very much aware that spending per child who requires special needs is much, much more than spending on a normal child. As I protect that phenomenon in the children, I want to charge the adults who basically are crooks. Because don't mock people. Like, it's like somebody who is saying, I'm absent because I'm sick, and yet God has given you very good health. Are we together? Or you say your mother has died several times because you had time to go to do other things. This time your mother has died, you absent yourself. You forget you said it. A year later, your same mother has died. And the reason I'm making this point here, ladies and gentlemen, is that normal people like me, with an aging process, if you have a low backache, you now find people with in the typical Kenyan style, they have bribed their way to the National Council of Disabilities. And they are basically, they are the ones stigmatizing being disabled. Are we together? You find somebody has one finger is missing, everything else is all right. Then he has a certificate, he's disabled. He wants to stay on at work for 65 years. You have somebody who has a little bit of bow legs, which in my tribe is beauty. If you come from where I come from and you have bow legs, you are more beautiful than the one who doesn't have. And you have people with this saying that, Dr. Wanabuhere, you know that is true, even from where you come. Bow leg is a form of beauty among ladies. And you find somebody saying, no, I'm disabled because I have bow legs. So I'm saying this so that we really focus and respect our children and learners and even adults who require special needs. The second point I want to make is that in this competency-based curriculum, people are going to ask, are we training teachers who are going to take care of the special needs children? And I want to assure you and affirm that these teachers will be trained timeously with even more attention. Are we together? It's going to be more costly. People are going to ask, you make a lot of noise that you have provided books for the children in grades 1 to 3. What about children with special needs? And I want to assure you that my attention is going to shift there. It is going to be very expensive because even as I speak to you now, there are certain exams that we are about to have in the old system. And we have had to pay special attention, for example, to people with challenges with the eyes, with sight, to ensure that the questions that are set, even those similar to the ones that are in the normal paper, have been moderated to take care of their requirements. Are we together? And also, when we are doing Braille, we have listened to the Braille experts and done precisely what they want, what kind of paper they want, and so on and so forth. For those who require to read things in much bigger sizes, we have ensured that that is done. But at the same time, remembering that this is Kenya, I want you to understand that what we had last year, because it is the teachers who declare where you are learning together, normal and special needs with who require large papers. Sometimes people exaggerate these large papers, and because we are not focused on them, one of them is smuggled so that the exam is done and they try to cheat through it. So this year, we have made sure that we confirm the number of children that require enlarged papers, and it will just be the exact number. And I hope nobody springs from somewhere, from heaven, that I'm also now challenged. And because if we say, we used to say X plus 1, and that X plus 1, since we have closed all the doors, it is that plus 1 that is giving us issues. Since we focus on the larger group of students and we don't focus in terms of special needs with large, they use that as a form of cheating. Ladies and gentlemen, the other thing that perhaps you may need to know in terms of expenditure per child, I am not going to give you figures. What I want to tell you is that I've been instructed by the government to ensure that we provide. Are we together? And the head of government is only one, and you know him. That we provide what it takes to make sure that that special needs child has the same environment and the same support, be it in the classroom, be it in the demonstration stage, be it in the assessment stage or an examination stage. And that is happening even now. In fact, I was deeply touched last year. When one of the seniors, the deputy president, was looking at the special needs girl at Moi Girls in Nairobi. And I think the girl was answering questions using Braille, and it was satisfying that a human being is a human being. All you need to do is to enable that person. So if there are issues that would come from this gathering that require to be addressed, because we are filling our glass, we are not emptying it, then we would expect that you discuss them dispassionately and bring a position paper that can be given now to the conference. But I want to urge you very strongly that since the government is really well versed with what it requires to do, and we are ready and available, let us put our views with that in mind. That is not to say that if there is something that is very negative that you want to talk about, that will help us to make things better for you. Are we together? Be bold enough to say it. And when we come to the conference, we will discuss. Because I want to end by saying that some of the most seamless mind thinkers in this world have had special needs. I don't need to give you names, you have seen them. So it doesn't mean that when you have, for example, a challenge with your sight, that your brain is not thinking. And you ask yourself, who is a professor or who is an academic? And the professor keeps being there because he's a thinker. Not a political thinker, a thinker, a free thinker, where you even welcome more people who disagree with you so that they can tell you why. And you hope you end up to agree to disagree. That is what being a professor is alike. And basically, that's what being an academic is alike. And basically, that is what being an intelligent person. And I believe everybody is intelligent in one way or another. Are we together? So I hope that I've made myself very clear that you really need not worry about us as government. When you start talking about cabinet paper, I will need to be thoroughly briefed, because I am more at home by having come here and seen things with my eyes. You know, Kenyans are fantastic people. Because whatever they write down, most of the times, is not what is on the ground. So now it's even good that I have come. If that paper comes, I'll be able to know that this man is talking from this perspective. Are we together? So mine is to wish you a very good success. I think Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development boss is here, and she's the responsible for the conference, the big one. And I believe that any time they require a link between themselves and the KISE, we are there ready and willing to do what is measurable. Are we together? Dr. Njegere, I want to be sure that the teachers we are teaching, we are training, have some with this component in August. It's important to know that. I also want to be sure that the books that we are buying for grade 4 has factored all the requirements of the special needs people. For example, the visually challenged ones. I don't want stories. I don't listen to stories because I don't have teeth and I'm not diplomatic. Eh? So if that is done, and I've given my word for it, then when a director, you can actually take it to the bank. I want to wish you well and God's blessings as we continue to serve our children. And please, you know, it's always also good to minister certain things. Eh? As we serve these children, it is a privilege, first of all, to have them, isn't it? God cannot make a mistake.
Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha